So I need a Kubernetes cluster. I need a Kubernetes cluster, and I'm going to create this cluster in the Google Cloud. Yeah, I need a Kubernetes cluster, and most of our lab, what we do, we will be doing it on the Google Cloud cluster, and we are going to create this cluster. So from my laptop, what I'll do is I'll use my laptop, not the AWS machine. I'm going to use my laptop throughout this training to do the experiments. So in my laptop, I would install Helm. I would install Customize. Customize is, yeah, I'll install Customize. I will install Argo CD. Is not something that you install here. Argo something has to be installed in the cluster. But there is an Argo command line, Argo CD command line that I will install in my laptop. So I would be using my laptop to install all the client software that I want to install, and then I would be installing server software inside the cluster. So I definitely need a cluster, and I already created I'm going to create a Kubernetes cluster, and then I should be able to connect to this cluster using kubectl. So these are the things what we are going to do next. Let's set up the lab environment for the GitOps training. So this is my Google Cloud account. You can also register yourself for a Google Cloud account, and they provide you $300 credit. You can use that credit to create your cluster, so you won't lose money from your pocket, right? And you need a credit card. So if you don't have a credit card, try to get some help, right? You need a credit card, debit card. Some debit card works actually, but most debit cards don't work. You can try with your debit card, but most debit card don't work in the Google Cloud. You might need a credit card to create your account. You can use a Google account. You can just go to this URL, console.cloud.google.com. Then you can log in with your existing Gmail ID and password, and then you have to enable the next. It will ask you to enable the billing account. So you have to enable the billing account. Then it will ask you to create a project. You have to create a project, and you have to do these many things first before you can start creating a Kubernetes cluster. So go ahead and do that. Create yourself an account in Google Cloud, and then let us create a cluster. So go to the menu, and every time you create a Google Cloud account, when you activate it, it will ask you to create a project. In my case, the name of the project is my first project. It can be anything. You can change this name, or if you want to create a new project, you can create a new project. So every time you create a Google Cloud account, they will ask you to create a project, and whatever resource that you create would be coming under this project. So this is just for your cloud resources orchestration, and it's mandatory you should create a project. And whatever things you create, it could be Kubernetes cluster, or it could be a machine. Anything that you create inside Kubernetes cluster has to put under a project. So just some concept, that's all. So I'm going to create a Kubernetes cluster, and once you activated your billing account, for that they will ask you to verify your card information. Every time you log in, when you log in for the first time, they will ask you to enable the billing account. So provide your card information and get your card verified, and once it is verified, you would be able to create a Kubernetes cluster. So for that, click this button and go to the Kubernetes engine, go to this service, and I'm going to create a Kubernetes cluster here. So in the cluster tab, click on the create button over here on the top, and you can select this option GKE standard. Give it some name. You can give any name. Let's say DevOps, or any name, DevOps or GitOps. I'm going to call the cluster with the name GitOps cluster. And then zonal, keep it zonal, not regional, keep it zonal. to save the cost. And then Kubernetes version, don't change anything. Click on default pool, number of nodes, how many worker node do you need? That's what they are asking. I need 2. Mention 2. That means the Kubernetes cluster will consist of 2 worker nodes. That's what it means. 2 machines, 2 Docker host, or whatever you want to call it. 2 Docker host or 2 container host will be there, and they will be the actual machines who run the containers. When you run a container in the cluster, these are the actual machines inside which the containers are running, right? We already talked about Kubernetes architecture, you know that, so I'm not explaining it again. Alright, so we come here and we are mentioning I need 2 worker nodes, and that's all. Then the machine size, if you click on the nodes, you can see the size of the machines. Let it be 2 CPUs and 4 GB memory, let it be. That's it. You just go ahead and click the button create, and the cluster will start to get created. It is as simple as that. Creating a cluster in the Google Cloud is just basically a 1 minute process, and it takes another 2 minutes, 2-3 minutes for the cluster to become ready. So we have to wait until the cluster become ready, and once it become ready, we can start connecting to this cluster. That's the stuff.